Is AI disruptive? Yes. Is there risk associated with AI?
If I take one example from India, we have something called as BYFY community.
What are some of the ways that we are engaging the workforce across the site?
We continuously have engagements with groups.
Akamai India is almost 3,000 people, and I have almost about 1,700, 1,800 people signed up for various communities of their interest. Hi, morning everybody. So today we are here to discuss a variety of interesting topics. It's beyond talent, the impact of our culture, innovation at Akamai, right? So before we get there, let's sort of go for a quick self-introduction. I'll go first. My name is Shivasundar. I head the Human Resources Business Partnering function for Akamai in India. And me and my team deal with business managers to sort of address their people issues. So it's an easy job.
I'm Charu Rao, part of the Global Talent Development team, and I lead learning and talent development for APJ India and the global functions.
I'm Deji Mabaganji. I oversee global talent acquisition, so focus on attraction, innovation, and diversity.
My name is Anthony Williams. I lead human resources for Akamai Technologies, and I have the pleasure of helping our business leaders to really propel Akamai forward and support the over 11,000 employees we have globally.
So Anthony, let's dive into the deep end, okay, straight away. Yeah, to address the big topic in the room, AI, right? Of late, we've been reading a lot about it. While one part is saying that this is the greatest thing that is happening, it will accelerate innovation, it will improve productivity and things like that. But at the same time, another side is saying, yeah, this can be very disruptive, right? Will impact a lot of jobs. Countries are looking to regulate AI and things like that. So what are your thoughts on this and at large, and then in particular with Akamai?
So AI is a wonderful topic to start with. And so I agree with everything that you said. I think with AI, there's a ton of different perspectives in the marketplace. And I think there are some perspectives that are embracing AI, and there's some fear among the workforce and among businesses as it relates to AI. From my perspective, I believe AI is a powerful and tremendous aid in human performance. And so I think there is tremendous potential in how AI can be leveraged and used, again, to aid human performance. And I'm saying that very in particular because there is, will always be a human element in my opinion, but I think it aids in human performance. To really sort of address a number of topics here that you touched on, I think number one, is AI disruptive, or it has the potential to be disruptive? Yes. When you look at, is there risk associated with AI? Yes. There will be new governance and things that we need to monitor, manage, et cetera. So there's absolute risk. Is there opportunity in AI? 100%, absolutely. And I think from an Akamai perspective, we're looking at it more as an opportunity. And how we are leveraging that is let's lean in. There are a number of examples that we have to pull on and look at in history that really point to the fact that the best innovation and the best creativity have come with disruption and risk and opportunity. And so our approach in Akamai is let's lean in, be aware of all the scenarios and options, and leverage what's a tremendous opportunity to aid human performance.
Deji, so where do you see AI, the impact of AI, or particularly on talent acquisition, because you had the talent acquisition for Akamai globally. So where do you think it is going to sort of influence or impact talent acquisition? And a follow-up on that, what are you thinking about upskilling or reskilling your talent acquisition team to deal with this change or disruption?
No, great question for us, and just seeing how we engage with talent, how we connect with folks. There's a lot of opportunity that AI allows and affords us here. And simple things. They're things that may lean more towards operational tasks. But for the charter of the group, we want to be able to find the right type of talent, engage and connect with them, tell a compelling story about why you want to come to work for Akamai. And part of that as well is harnessing some of the insights that Anthony shared about us leaning into and embracing AI. It resonates well with the talent that we're looking for.
Okay.
Right. So when you think about how do we communicate, there are simplicity elements that AI can help us with, connecting with candidates, with identifying the right type of talent, with you having a particular domain or technology or element that you're looking for, and AI could help with suggestions of things that might be tangential. We're looking for this, but if you find this, it may go together and give us an opportunity to think about talent in different ways. And then when you think about the tactical things around scheduling discussions, meeting people together, the technology also could be an aid there in simplifying some of those repetitive tasks that always happen. Sure. But you raised a very big question, right? We are dealing with this right now, and it's everywhere. So how do we get the team ready? A lot of the partners that we're working with, the tools that we have and work with in talent acquisition are incorporating some elements of AI. So having the team ready to understand how to work within the frameworks and the guidelines that Akamai will be operating in, and take the opportunity to explore a little bit, but figuring out ways to make sure this is effective in helping us grow and find the folks. So the few insertion points that I think we continue to learn and understand where there's some value and opportunity with AI.
Okay, thank you. Charu, what are your perspectives? I mean, you lead the talent development for Akamai India, so and also certain parts of Akamai global teams. So what are your perspectives on AI? How would you sort of use this to sort of help our employees to be ahead of the curve?
Yeah, I think I'll pick on what Deji just said about reskilling and upskilling. I think that's the area, especially in the talent development space, where there's a lot of opportunity. Like Anthony said, we're looking at what are the opportunities and how we can leverage it, especially in terms of looking at where you are in terms of your skills and identifying that and using AI to say, okay, if you have A, B, C skills, here are the 10 different opportunities that are available within the company for you to rotate and move around and try different jobs. And it'll also enable you to say, okay, here are some subject matter experts. Here are some mentors that you can tap into. And all of this is enabled through AI. And we are in the very early stages of exploring how we could use this as an opportunity. We are also exploring coaching, for example. Managers are really at the center of managing this hybrid workforce. So how can we enable them with an AI-enabled coaching, which will give some easy solutions for some of the very often asked questions that they're struggling with. So these are some early examples. We are also looking at using AI in content design and learning need analysis. These are examples that we are exploring, but really excited about what it could do in the talent development space.
From my perspective, I think, yes, of course, there is a lot of hype about AI. Some people are looking to sort of embrace it. Some people are wary about it. I would go back 40 years ago, right, when computers came in to the corporate world. There was a big discussion around it is going to take away jobs, it will be too disruptive, people will be like without jobs and things like that. But what happened 40 years later? Today we have a whole new industry, the software development industry. It has sort of a new category of business called IT-enabled services, right? So I'm sure that this is going to happen with AI. Maybe initially there may be some disruptions,
yes,
but I think people will find that opportunity to sort of leverage this. And from my perspective, I think real intelligence or the real human intelligence is going to sort of prevail over the artificial intelligence. So
absolutely,
yeah, there is fear, but I think there's a great opportunity here for the coming years. That's how I look at AI and impact. Okay.
Absolutely. So there was an interesting thing that was discussed in a conference where they said that AI will help you with digital skills and, easing a lot of process-related things that we as people are involved in. But it'll also help you hyper-focus on some of the human skills where really those nuanced skills like dealing with conflict management, for example, or people-related interventions. How do you build trust? These are things where there will still be that human intelligence, like you said, Shiv, will really be important.
And I can tell you, sorry, but from the talent acquisition perspective, I've had some very spirited discussions with the team around really wanting to jump in with both feet and take advantage of what's there. So I think there's certainly that realization that it will change the way we do things and could really be a multiplier for how we produce here.
I love the words you used in terms of there's a lot of hype. I think that couldn't be more accurate. But I'll take a 300-foot perspective here. And I think this can be said about most things. Where there's change, there's fear.
Yes.
And I think there's that the change and disruption element is driving fear. But again, and Shiv, I thought you were very correct in addressing that. We've had disruption introduced time after time.
Yes.
in society, and there's still a need and use for human intelligence and human intervention. And so I think the use of technology, again, continues to aid our ability to perform. And I haven't seen it yet fully disable the need for human performance, right? There's still a need for human performance, but AI will enable and help to make performance better, make us more efficient, and make us more knowledgeable and effective.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there will be some early adopters, some will be little wary about it, they will sort of take some judicious calls about AI. But I think going forward, that's the way to go, right? I don't think we can sort of say that I will stay away from it. I don't think that is ever going to happen. Like when my father saw the computer for the first time, he was like, I'm not going to touch it. But later on, he got used to it. So I think that's going to happen. Right.
Anthony, this is for you. Flexible workforce or flex space is really at the core of our work culture. And there's a lot of debate around whether it should be hybrid or whether we should ask people to come back to work or whether we should continue flex space across the industry. And we have embraced flex space. So this shift, how has it impacted the way we attract and retain talent, according to you?
I couldn't agree with you more. I think you're spot on in that the return to office, which is a hotly debated topic for the last year, a number of companies who have redirected their approach and talk about disruption have continued to sort of go back and forth on whether employees need to be in office or outside of the office. And so there is a significant amount of change and upheaval in the workforce. But I think your question is a good one. And so I'll speak on sort of Akamai's perspective, which I think is really important. And I'll start with what we believe. And the reason I'll start there is because what we believe really sets the tone and influences how we engage and what we're doing in our approach. And it really starts with, we believe at Akamai the future is flexible, right? And so what does that mean, or how has that influenced what we do and how we go about our business? In believing the future is flexible, we've empowered our employees to work where they believe they get their best work done.
Right.
And we believe that makes us more productive. It's better for the employee, it's better for the business, and we all win. And we've been officially, over the last few years now, in what we call flex-based or flexible work environment, and the early signs are incredibly positive, and have not yielded any concern from a leadership standpoint for me or our leaders. And just to give a few proof points, what I would share is a few things. Number one, from a performance standpoint, we recognize and notice a higher or an increase in the volume of applicants to the company. Number two, we consistently see strong engagement among our employees. Number three, we're seeing record retention among our employee population. And lastly, and equally as important, our business results have been strong and consistent since we've gone to a flexible work environment.
You said it right. Retention has been great for us, right? We used to see double-digit attrition, but in the last couple of years, I'm seeing single-digit attrition, right? And our flexible work environment is sort of becoming a USP for Akamai. A lot of people are very impressed that we give a lot of flexibility. And today, I think work has sort of changed. Like earlier, it used to be. Again, I'm going back to my father. He used to say, "I'm going to work." So work was a place.
Would be proud.
Yes.
of what you're saying. You'd be proud.
Yeah. So I'm going to work, right? Work was a place. I get to at 9 in the morning and come back 5 in the evening. Sort of. That was the concept. Sure. Today, work I think has sort of changed to a task that has to be or a set of tasks to be accomplished in a effective and efficient manner. And I think there is enough technology available today to get it done from anywhere, right? So you don't have to get to a place to work. You can sort of roll off your bed and then start working, right? So that's how it is today. So I think the concept of work is completely changing. So I think, I think our young workforce also will adapt very quickly to that. They've already adapted, and they will, I think.
So, and to the point that Anthony raised, I think when you think about recruiting and engaging with folks, so we have seen a volume of potential candidates apply, and that has certainly gone up. It has opened up the markets. It's given us a broader reach. So we're connecting with folks in regions and countries and areas that we normally might not have had an opportunity to engage. And it's a strong proposition. We have candidates who, are you guys still doing that thing that gives you the flexibility? And we're committed to the posture here to encourage folks to work in a way that works for them. So doubling down on our representation push as well and trying to attract diversity to the company. This has been a key factor and a significant differentiator. So the flexibility element is something that I think has been very, very positive for attracting talent.
Deji, you're right. Like if I can give India perspective into this, today it's just 55% of my employee base is in Bangalore. 45% of our employees are outside of Bangalore. And let me tell you, it has opened up opportunities for us to look for candidates across India. Absolutely. So earlier there used to be a constraint. Are you willing to move to Bangalore? Are you willing to sort of come to Bangalore to work and things like that? So that is to put certain constraints on us. But today I am able to say, go to Pune, go to Hyderabad, go to Indore, different parts of the countries, right? And tell the person that no, you have the flexibility to work from your home. Yeah. So it has just opened up the canvas is larger now. I can look for talent across the country. I have people working from right from Chennai, which is down south, to Srinagar, from Ahmedabad to Tripura, Agartala, and things like that. So it's like the opportunities are way larger.
Wide reach.
What I would share, though, and I think it's important to note, is that while I believe our decision to move to a flexible work environment and the results, as I shared, are really pointing to our success, I think it's also important that decision comes with some change. And I'll keep it pretty simple here in saying, with that shift comes doing things differently, right? So your practices, your approach, and how you do things need to evolve with the practice, and very specifically how we lead, how we engage our teams, and how we connect with our employees needs to keep pace with a flexible work environment. So I do think there's a way to do it incorrectly, and I think there's a way to do it that doesn't produce good results. And so I think for any organization that's getting into or thinking about going that route, I think it's not a one and done. It's not a flip of switch.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. You're right. Very right, Anthony. Because if it is done wrong, it can have very negative effects, right? I mean, productivity could suffer. But Yeah, from my perspective, I think our managers are pretty happy with the way things are going, right? When we went to that remote work many years ago, they were all skeptical, but today I think they've embraced it. They know how to lead the workforce in the hybrid environment. I think, I think we are doing pretty well in that perspective. I would say, yeah.
I'm very curious, Shiv, because you said Chennai to Srinagar and spread across India.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that we are engaging the workforce across the sites? The virtual sites and
Yeah.
the virtual site leaders. Do you want to talk a little more
yeah.
about
So, we have 11 virtual sites across the country. Okay. And you'll be surprised to know that more than 30 employees work out of Srinagar, right? So, we for all these virtual sites that have a substantial number of people in each of these cities or towns, we have sort of appointed a virtual site leader. So, yeah, and we have taken a lot of care to sort of nominate the right person to hold the Akamai culture together, because in this distributed environment, to sort of replicate that Akamai culture across the country, it takes some effort. It does take effort, and we have gone one step ahead. So each of these site leaders are supported by a committee. We sort of encourage 4 to 5 people to sort of help the virtual site leader, and we as leadership team in India, we connect with them on a monthly basis. We connect with the leaders on a monthly basis. Myself, Prasad, and Neha, we talk to them on a monthly basis, and these leaders do all efforts to at least bring everybody together at least once in 2 or 3 months. So they come together, they meet and greet, and like we are hiring in different towns, there are a lot of new joinees who have never seen Akamai in Bangalore, right? They're now come to our office because the onboarding happens almost virtually, right? The systems are shipped, they sort of go through a virtual onboarding and things like that. So this is a good opportunity to sort of get these new joinees into these meets and introduce themselves and meet the people who are there in their town. So it is sort of building that camaraderie among the people. And it is definitely working very positively for us. So we have adapted, we have sort of pivoted and shifted our approach in managing people, because otherwise it's 5,000 kilometers away. It is very difficult to manage remotely, right? So these are the things that we have sort of embraced very early, and it's working wonders for us.
Yeah, I think it's a great example of something that we've had to do differently.
Yes.
And what I think is at the center of what Shiva described is create a community for our people who are not near a location or, and I'll do my quote fingers here, or a site. And so being able to create community for people who are away from a main office or a location is a really important aspect of culture and being able to build the culture, and even how we define what a site is today. Whereas a site and a location in a country used to represent a physical location. Now a site represents a market presence of a critical mass of employees in a location that ultimately we want to make sure have access to each other for community, for networking, and for support. And so that's a prime example of not just flipping a switch and going to a remote environment, but making sure there's a surround sound of support so that our people can be successful.
Yeah. So there's engagement, there's retention, there's great attraction, and at the core of it, there's also great results and change of approach in the way we are looking at all of it. And I think also at the core of it, it's about leading with trust, right? When you provide that autonomy to the employees to make that choice on whether they want to work from home or whether they want to work from office, that also builds a lot of trust. With trust also comes great responsibility and accountability, which kind of leads to all of these great things.
The T word.
The T word, right. And talking about culture, Anthony, so Akamai's core culture and core values, and we are spread across global offices and now sites, as Shiv was talking about. How do you allow for this core culture to thrive despite flex space, despite being spread across global offices, and yet allow for local adaptations to happen?
And it's something that we take seriously and something that has to be done very carefully. And I'll start with sort of a framework of how we look at it. And I think the first thing is our culture is really rooted in our values. And so number one, our leaders at the top really living our culture and living our values. Even before that, I think, when you look at the company and you look at our culture, it's really a culture of being about problem solving at its core. And as a part of that, being a part of something that is bigger than us and being able to make a contribution and making an impact on the world. And it started with trying to solve the worldwide wait, trying to make sure that the internet was safe and secure. And now it's about really how do we make our imprint on driving strong computing solutions, what we see as our greatest opportunity now. And so, again, it starts with values at the top with our leaders in reinforcing our values, which serves the gateway toward reinforcing our culture. Secondly, it's putting in place rewards, recognition, and development that reinforce the culture and reinforce how we function within our values. And then lastly, it's really hiring diverse people that actually shared some of the same core tenets that we do around being curious, wanting to be part of something that's bigger than they are, having a serving mentality, wanting to deliver for customers. And so that's where it starts. But the beauty of it is it actually, at its core, that is maintained and fostered by leadership, but has nuances that adopt to the culture in the country and the location and the geography in which our people sit. And so no matter what office, what location, what virtual site you go to, there may be a difference in some of the things that you see from geography to geography, but at the core, there is still the cultural tenets of problem solving. The best idea and the best innovation is king and wins. No matter where you sit within the organization, at any level, you have a voice. We serve as an environment that is inclusive and want our teams to contribute and be involved. And so it's easier said than done. But I think it starts with having our values outlined, reinforcing those, and our leaders walking the walk.
Great. Shiv, are there examples on how these local adaptations have happened in India?
So I spoke of one, right? The virtual sites. So we engage our employees through these virtual sites, through these virtual site leaders. Apart from that, I think it is very important to keep the connections, right?
Yeah.
The connectedness of employees. So if I take one example from India, we have something called as the BYFY community, by you, for you, right? And these communities are sort of driven by employees. So these communities could be technical in nature or non-tech. So for example, there could be a Python developers community, a Java developers community, a architects board. So people of similar interests come together and so they exchange ideas and work on ideas and things like that. On the non-tech side, there could be a parenting community. There's a foodie community, sort of a thing. So people, depending on their interest areas, they come together, they sort of bond together. So and we really encourage them to do that. Akamai India is almost 3,000 people, and I have almost about 1,700, 1,800 people signed up for various communities of their interest. So it drives that feeling of belonging, right? And contributing in a meaningful manner to that community. So I think these are the things that are sort of keeping our culture together. That's really helping us a lot.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
And Deji, how is that? How does that manifest when you're attracting talent? What do people see when we talk about Akamai and Akamai's culture, and how has it helped in attracting top talent?
Yeah, I think the foundational things that we've just talked about and covered here, it's the kind of stuff we want to put out there and make sure folks have an awareness of the clientele, the personnel, the folks who work at Akamai. And for those who have, as Shiv talked about, affinity groups and things of that nature, resonate with the candidates out there. You want to feel part of something. You want to be able to contribute. And together, we will drive and deliver some results. So being armed with talking points and being able to put this out there in the ether as we engage with folks, tell the story of where we started and where we've come to, is all very positive in making a story and a mark. And it remains with people. It's not just going to work to do something, going home, or logging on and shutting down. You have an opportunity to connect with folks in a way and participate in the culture, even though you might not necessarily be right there in the midst of everything. So all very positive in ways to tell a story about who we are and what we want to see.
Wonderful. And I might want to add just one layer on top of everything that you just said. I think the whole journey on growth mindset also is now becoming a part of the DNA of our culture, right? Like the way we look at things, the mindset to experiment, the mindset to improve constantly versus proving and going away from the whole perfectionistic culture and looking at how are we progressing, how are we looking at biases, and how are we building inclusive teams and how it's at the core of everything that we do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
The change is here, so adapt.
So we spoke about culture and we spoke about how we are moving from different way of working to embracing flex space. And we talk about building a positive work environment. Mental wellness is really at the core of it or at the center of it. So Anthony, what are your thoughts on what are we doing differently at Akamai in supporting the well-being of our employees?
Yeah, we've talked a lot here in this session about societal evolution and change and AI and how we're at the forefront of change in our society. And interestingly enough, when we think about wellness or well-being, this is the thing that I am the most excited about, that society is embracing and that companies are embracing. Because wellness or well-being has not in the past been something that I think society or organizations have been as willing or open to address or accept or to support people or employees in pursuit of being well. And so, again, I think this is something that I am tremendously excited about, and I think is very necessary in today's society. Relevant to our approach, we've leaned in, and we believe, quite simply, a well employee is a productive employee. And so why not lean in? Why not focus on making sure that our people have what they need so that they can actually be at their best in the workplace and in supporting Akamai? And we've done this in a couple of different ways. I think it really starts with having and acknowledging that wellness is important, number one, so that employees recognize that it's important to us and that gives them a greater sense of self-awareness and interest in their overall wellness. Number two, we've created programs and ways in which we can support employees in their pursuit of being well. And then lastly, we've given days off, like wellness days and things like that, to reinforce our employees having the opportunity as a company at the same time and on the same day, an opportunity to reset, which I think is really important. And lastly, what I would say is wellness ultimately has, a multifaceted impact, right? I think wellness is really about, and I know we as a company at Akamai view wellness as mental wellness, physical wellness, and financial wellness. And so for the things that we offer, and the focus for us is really how can we fortify those pillars of wellness for our employees, again, with a thought process that a well employee is going to be a productive employee. So I'm couldn't be more excited about the direction that society is taking in recognizing the importance of wellness, and the fact that we're leaning in.
Yeah, Anthony, I agree with you. Our wellness days is a star player in our wellness program. It's a star player, right? All our employees love it, and it's very well accepted by them. So they really love it.
Yeah, good.
So that's one initiative, right? That, but it is a high impact thing, right?
Yes.
People do love it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have definitely leaned in, and I think today, if you look at wellness, I think earlier it used to be like wellness is more reactive. Like people fall sick and they go and they try to get well, right? Today, I think it has completely shifted into a proactive mode.
Yes.
People are well aware of what's happening with themselves, their body, and things like that. And I think they're taking a proactive approach to go and sign up for a physical education class or a yoga class and things like that. So I think it has it is prevalent particularly among the youngsters, and I think they do give a lot of importance to this program. And I think Akamai has been a leading player in thinking about employee wellness, right? So if I have to come to the India program, of course, we have trained a number of our employees as mental health first aiders, right? And this is like a global program.
It's powerful.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
powerful, right?
Yeah.
It is clearly telling our employees that if you are facing an issue, like you're going through an anxiety issues or a panic attack and things like that, we have trained, certified people inside of Akamai to go and talk to, right? And definitely they'll be able to help you, they'll be able to guide you, and if further professional help is required, they'll be help you in directing you to those people or to those resources, right? So I think, we are big on wellness. We really want to take care of our employees from their wellness perspective, and it is going to stay here as part of our core approach to employee well-being.
That's a great point, Shiv, especially on how the new generation is embracing it, and it's really at the core of everything that we do. Yeah. Mental health first aiders is a great initiative.
Exactly. And we recently introduced this wellness allowance.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, within the first 10 days of introducing that program, over 750 people have already signed up there, right? So that shows the interest. We recently launched it, and the last count I got from the Total Rewards team was that over 750 signed up within the first 10 days. So you can imagine the enthusiasm, right? And that focus on wellness.
The demand is there.
Yes, yeah. Demand is there. And I think we are doing good from that perspective. Everybody is talking about that wellness allowance program.
Great. And Dejit, how have you seen this? Like Shiv said, a lot of the new generation is really looking for wellness as one of the core things as part of their employment. Do you see that? And how does Akamai's story resonate with them?
From what we've talked about, there's been a lot of change that has affected the employee base over the last few years. Some of it has been change that just landed on us, and we figured out ways to adapt and maneuver. Some of it has been focused. We're going to go this way because of something that's happened, either economically or just in the world, right? And so for us, this is a key selling point in our Total Rewards package as we're pitching and talking to candidates. This is something we also do. We have the support mechanisms to help folks navigate, adapt, and deal with change. And when we try to we speak to folks, and this is oftentimes a surprise, right? Because I think we've seen other companies who may have tactics or ways to connect and hire, but may not have this kind of support behind them. So it is a differentiator for us, and I think one of the very positive things that the typical kind of discussions happen with candidates as you're talking about compensation elements and how many vacations do I have and things of that nature, but being able to introduce other things that fit in that whole reward package. This is something that is important. We're not all in the same place, and you may need tools to help facilitate and navigate your day-to-day activity. So having that piece is another element that I think was very strategic and beneficial to have productive employees.
That's great. So we spoke about these large programs at global level, which is available for all employees. I want to add by saying that it's also reflected in everyday actions. So wellness is something which is very dear to everyone, and there's also leaders who are walking the talk.
Yes.
I have heard leaders talk about how they take naps in between meetings, and how they go on vacations around wellness days and share that proudly. So it also gives permission to the employees, and it kind of sets that expectation that it's okay and it's important to focus on my own well-being, because I see my leaders doing that. So there's a lot of leading by example, and things like your micro breaks and focus Fridays. All these are little things that we do on an everyday basis that focuses on wellness.
Absolutely.
Again, a focus on wellness or a more well employee having a likelihood of being a more productive employee just sounds like a win all the way around.
Yes.
Right. And it's just, it feels like a win to me.
Yeah, you spoke about the micro breaks, right? It's such a wonderful thing. Otherwise, you're just hopping from one meeting to the other. So this 5-minute break between meetings, it sort of relieves you so much. Otherwise, 10:28, you are under pressure. I need to log into the next meeting, right? And I'm trying to tell the other person, another 1 minute I have to log into the other meeting. But this break gives me such a relief. Right, I can quickly go for a bio break, come back, relax, and take the next call or the next meeting. So it's a great thing. It really tells that the small things, right? 5-minute break. It really tells our employees we care for you, right? I think that's a powerful message out there.
And we're seeking to enable your success by providing you with wellness and things that allow you the opportunity to catch your breath.
Yes.
It's important.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a constant pressure. You're under constant pressure to hop from one meeting to the other.
Yeah.
Right.
And also the balance, right? Like the quiet hours that enables you to, like on WebEx, there's a feature where you can say quiet hours, and that's a period of time that you want to focus on yourself, your family, you want to take a break, and that's when nobody actually calls you or there's no meeting schedule. So it's also empowering employees to focus on wellness in these little ways on a daily basis.
So, Deji, diversity, right? In any global organization brings that vitality, that vibrancy into the whole workspace. So, as a global TA leader, what are some of the programs that you are running or looking at to increase or improve diversity at Akamai?
This is a good question. A big portion of what my role is here in ensuring we have the right kind of representation, the right opportunity for innovation and ideation across the organization. So globally, as we think about the talent we want to engage with, we want to create a picture. We want to have an opportunity to encourage and tell a story, right? And also showcase what we have within the company. We've taken several steps over the years in ensuring, first of all, even how we engage, what we say to the candidates. What do our job descriptions look like? Is it a job description that would make you want to apply to the company? Is it something that stands out for you, right? So we've taken some time to really craft descriptions that hopefully resonate with the job seeker. Bringing that in beyond just the advertising and how we market, how do we show up in front of a candidate who is interested in Akamai? Who do they meet when they come in? What does that table look like as they're talking to folks? So ensuring that there is some representation in the panel that they meet with, or give a good view of what we have within the company. We continuously have engagements with groups. We think about ways to broaden our reach and connect with folks that will give us an opportunity to tell a story to a different audience, right? And this could be globally on the gender level. We think about impact with veterans, with folks coming from the LGBTQ community, and there's a whole host of other subgroups that we look at. But the theme is, how do we tell a story? How do we attract and how do we get people to come to Akamai? One of the other big things that we've done is in our approach to connect with former Akamites, or boomerangs, as we've seen some folks come to Akamai, do some productive work, and maybe leave the company, but there's always that opportunity for folks to have a chance to come back to the company. So we have targeted outreach. We actually have set up programs to connect with folks who have left, and they've taken the experience elsewhere, they've built upon that, they've learned new things, they've networked, and we say, come back to Akamai. The company has changed, it's evolved. All the fancy, nice programs we've been talking about, the support mechanisms, the direction of where the company is going, the story of the evolution, right, of who and what Akamai is. And we've actually had very great success We actually made this a little bit more programmatic. We partnered with our business community in interviewing boomerangs. Why did you come back? What was it that made you want to come back to the Akamai community? And telling that story, it's actually been very encouraging to hear that the things we're talking about today are not necessarily what's out there with other companies. And this is something that's very attractive. I left, I was pursuing something different, but I missed what we had at Akamai. And now I've learned that you've built upon that. And so the interest in the organization has been very high. So this is a targeted approach to try to welcome folks back, build some community around the alumni, and can continue to fester and make sure that we bring that talent back to the company. So it's been a significant program for us. And this will continue to evolve. We'll think about other elements, other groups, other ways that as a global company we can represent and tell a story that aligns with our overall goals.
I really liked your diversity of the interviewing panel, right? Oh, that's clearly demonstrating we are walking our walk, exactly. Right? So that's putting on the table that we do what we say, absolutely. Right? Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
So Shiv, Deji spoke about Boomerang as one of the success stories on how we are embracing diversity and inclusion in everything that we do. Are there any success stories in India? What's the focus like?
Yeah, so I think there are. Traditionally, we've been looking at diversity as gender diversity, right? In India, it was mostly gender diversity. But we have moved on from there. Today, we are talking in terms of diversity, we are talking about hiring veterans, where we have seeing some success. We are talking about hiring people with the physical challenges. Again, we are doing pretty well there. We are engaging with the LGBTQ community, and we are making some hirings there. So these are all very focused approach. It just doesn't happen by magic, right? So it requires a lot of planning and focus to get this done. So we are getting there. But are we happy? Not really. For example, if I look at gender diversity, almost 1/3 of my workforce is gender diverse, right? But am I happy with that? Yes, I'm happy, because if you compare it with the other technology companies, I think we are one of the leading companies with that ratio. But if I deep dive a little bit into this aspect, if I look at the diversity at, say, people manager plus levels, right, I see we are half of it. Mm-hmm. So again, there is a lot to do there. It doesn't happen just overnight. The needle moves very slowly. And we've been doing programs to sort of encourage our women leaders to take up positions of leadership, people managers and things like that. Stand Tall is a good example. This is a award-winning initiative from our side to encourage our women to look at leadership positions. And Charu, you've been running this for the last 7-8 years. So yeah, as I said, takes a lot of planning, a lot of focus, and that tenacity to keep at it. So and the needle doesn't move very quickly. It moves, but it takes time. But we are doing things, and we are definitely keep going at it, right? And we have this program called Revive. Right, again, from a diversity perspective, we are giving opportunity for people who have taken a career break. And when companies normally look at people with career break, there's a lot of apprehension, there's a lot of doubt expressed as to you have taken a break and you're trying to come back into the workforce. Are you able to do? And Akamai doesn't ask those questions. We look at their past experience, performance, and things like that, and say that if there's a fit of that person into our workspace, into our culture, we definitely go and look at that person very seriously from an offer perspective. And it doesn't end there. Once the person comes in, we look at how do we support them, right? Because they've taken a break, they may need some help in the initial, there will be teething problems, so they may require some help. So we assign them buddies. So these are some of the things that we are doing. So if they are struggling with certain things, they can always go to their buddies, talk to them, seek help and things like that. So these are some of the things that we are doing from a from encouraging the diversity perspective at Akamai.
Yeah.
And like I said, diverse workforce is always a vibrant workforce and full of vitality, right? Yeah.
It's not an easy task.
Yes.
It's a very challenging proposition
Yes.
to try to encourage this because, as you mentioned, a number of companies have a focus also to try to increase their diversity, and so it's ultra competitive. One of the things we also do in the talent acquisition space is, it's one thing to have a position open and we're looking to recruit and bring in folks to fill that role, but also the forethought, thinking beyond and in the future, right? So we do have a few programs where we make introductions, we engage with the population, we curate some interest in the market, and while it might not be to fill a particular position right now, we're engaging with the candidates and the potentials and bringing in opportunities for folks to learn about Akamai with the thought that as things open up and we build some awareness of who we are, we can target them for future positions. So having that engagement with folks from various backgrounds as a pipeline for the future is also a very key component of how we engage and think about the future.
Yeah, I would add to that. I think Deji, you and Shiva are exactly right. We've made some tremendous progress in terms of our pursuit of more diversity and having a much more diverse workforce. But there's a lot more work to do, and we've embraced that, and we're supporting and fortifying our efforts so that we can continue to see progress. Myself personally, I believe difference, specifically difference in perspective, is the gateway to innovation. And for Akamai as a company, it's really important for us to look at ways in which we can be successful. And we believe diversity and a diverse workforce can and will be a superpower for us. And in an effort to really continue to be successful, we feel like diversity needs to be at the forefront. And what I appreciate about our organization, and I think Shiva, you and Deji articulated this extremely well, is that it starts at the top and it permeates throughout the organization in terms of how important it is, the business imperative for us. Innovation is incredibly important, and we believe in order to solve difficult problems on the internet, we've got to have difference in views and perspectives and a diverse workforce at the table to do that successfully. And I think a prime example of this is as I've been here in India spending time with our team, I'm spending a lot of time with our talent acquisition team, and between spending time with one of our emerging talent leaders last night and another emerging talent recruiters last night and another member of the team, I've asked them, well, why have we been so successful in meeting our focus to drive more diverse talent? And the answer was really simple. It's extremely important for us and the company. And so that recognition really permeates throughout the organization, no matter who you talk to, that this is important for us as a business. And I think that makes the difference in our focus and will make the difference in our continued progress moving forward.
So diversity is a business imperative, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And Shiv, from what you said, it takes intentional efforts and consistent efforts to get there. And Deji, you spoke beautifully about how while we're trying to, while diversity is the goal, the way to do it is through inclusion and inclusive practices. So great summary. And that, I think, brings us to the end of today's power-packed morning conversation with coffee. If you had to summarize, what is the future of work for you in one line? What would that be? Anthony, will go with you. I would say future is flexible. I'm stealing Anthony's words. I really resonate with that. What would your phrase be?
I would align with that same phrase, but I'll add a little bit to it. I would say as well, the future is flexible. Lean in and win.
Okay. I would say the future is diverse. Okay, because we sort of ended the conversation with diversity. Why am I saying this? If you closely look today's workforce, you have 4 generations working in the organization. There are baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, right? Give it a few more years, Gen Alpha is knocking on your door.
Yes.
and that is going to make the workplace more fun. Right? So I would say the future of work or the workforce is diversity.
You guys took all the words I was going to use, but to summarize, I would just say growth comes from change. And that's kind of the world we're living in now, and an opportunity to embrace and figure out how to maneuver. And, it's all positive in ways that, while there may be some pain in the growth, but you learn something and you adapt. So that's how I'll summarize.
Thank you. I think we really had a very intense and very interesting conversation today.
I learned so many
things popping up in your brain, right? I mean, yeah, it's very nice.
Perspective has been rich.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.